Okay, as promised, I'm going to really try to keep this video short because if you're watching this, you probably already watched the train wreck of the video just did. So this is going back to problem 8 on your packet, which just I couldn't make anything work. Now, if you recall from the video, the first thing I tried to do was I tried to just put in the table as is, and I'm going to zoom fit on that. And you can see where those points are. Hopefully I didn't make any typos when I typed them in this time. And when we go to look at like other potential points, so you can kind of remember what the issue was. The issue was in 2016, you know, what might the population be? So maybe you plug in like the first answer choice. So 2016, we have 594,164. And what you'll notice is that that looks like a reasonable point. And unfortunately, what happens is all of the points look like reasonable points. Okay. And so, yeah, you zoom it out like this and it's like, well, I don't know, both of those look good. It turns out that all 4 of your answer choices look good. So that was the first thing I tried. And if I've got to get stuck in this quagmire with this problem, I want to model for you how you go about trying different things, how you persevere through one. Now, again, for the record, if I stumbled across this and ran into this difficulty on the EOC, I'm on to a different problem. Okay, because you don't want to spin your wheels. But when you have the time, we want to explore different ways to be able to solve it. So then I said, okay, well, let's get rid of those points and let's try a regression. The form for the regression, and I did write it in the video. I think, I don't know, I had to re-record that so many times, but it was y equals a b to the x. So when you're doing your regression, you have to have the ones in there. So we would need to do y1 tilde a b to the x1. Okay, now what that does is it gives me this beautiful function that goes through all those points and it gives me the values for a and b. Here's the problem. This value for a is tiny. It is times 10 to the negative 62, which means you're going to take that decimal point right there that my cursor is hovering over, and you're going to move it 62 decimal places to the left. So it's going to be 0.61 zeros, then 24795. That is not a decent equation to use. Okay, so this is where I got stalled out. So there's a trick you can do to kind of shift the numbers around a little bit, but doesn't change the outcome of this. And that's instead of using 1992 as the X, okay, we're going to call 1992 year 0, which is precisely when everything started to freeze. That would mean 1995 is 3 years later. That is year 3. 1998 is 6 years later. 2001 is 9 years later. This would be 12 years later. Yeah. And 2007 is 15 years later. Now, you notice my graph looks like it's gone, and that's because we moved everything. So I need to click my little plus sign again. Maybe click my little plus sign again. There we go. Okay. And it's back. Okay. It's just what I did was, then the lights go off in your classroom because you've been fighting with your math work too long. Okay, now if I go down and I look at my equation, I have numbers that I feel are workable. Okay, so I've got like 95,000. Now I still don't really like that number, but it's a number I can live with and a model I can live with. Now the trick is we need 2016. Okay. But I remember I scaled everything back. So 1992 is year 0. So essentially what you need to do is you need to count upward and try to figure out, okay, year 2016 would be year what if you started 1992 as year 0. So if 1992 is year 0, 2002 would be year 10. 2012 would be year 20, and then you would count up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from 2012, and that would give you 24. So what we want is the value for year 24. Now at this point, you might be able to maybe like figure it out. I don't know. I didn't try to plug the numbers in here to see if it would work. Maybe it does work, and I should have tried that first. I don't know. We could plug in 594164, zoom it out and see if it works. I actually didn't try this. No, that looks like a good point. I'm going to plug in the next answer choice, 603934. Nope. Okay, good. I'm actually like feel vindicated on that. Okay, so you can't tell from the graph, like they're just too close to see. So what we're going to do is use our equation now that we know that we're looking for year 24. So down here, this is going to be a one-step thing, okay? We want to figure out what y is when x is 24. So I'm going to type in A, 95,264.4 times B, 1.08001 raised to the 24th power. And I get 604,108 point blah, 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 blah. I don't care anymore. Now, looking at my answer choices, that doesn't exactly match any of my answer choices, but it comes really close to answer choice B. And I figure I'm okay with that because we're dealing with a situation where we have some rounding going on with these decimal numbers. These are roundy decimal numbers. And so when that happens and you're dealing with numbers up in the hundreds of thousands, then that's kind of an acceptable thing. And so I feel confident, like answer choice B is the answer choice we want. All of that being said, that was way too much work for an EOC problem. So you want to be astute enough on your EOC to recognize when you're dealing with a problem that involves a lot of work like that, and you might have to approach it different ways. If you finish your whole exam and you have 15 minutes left, absolutely try to do some of these things because you want to get as many questions right as possible on your EOC. You don't want to throw the questions, but you don't do that until you've answered all the things that are much simpler to answer. Okay, so I want to make sure I'm really clear about that, and probably you're like, yep, you're clear, Ms. Taylor, stop. All right, so that was just an 8-minute video, like between 8 and 9 minutes, and I feel a little bit better that we got that covered. And I am assuming, again, that you're going to have questions. So post questions, email me your questions, make sure that you are communicating with me about how this went.